as his name is Kodesh. Now, not everyone gets that title Kodesh. I remember I used to speak in a certain shul, and there was always one guy. Every time I would quote the Chaim HaKodesh, he would say, well, why isn't Chveis, Rabbi Yaakov HaKodesh? Why isn't Avraham HaKodesh? Why is it, how is it that there are specific tzaddikim that Taka got the title? And the guy was a Lamdan, until I found I couldn't answer him stam. Until I found the Tosos in Masechah Shabbos quotes one of the Baalei Tosos and he calls him HaKodesh. So you see, first of all, that HaKodesh doesn't go to everyone. There's something you have to do to be called HaKodesh. So I have two possibilities to explain why there are Chaim HaKodesh, of Chaim ben Atar. He was born in Sali of Morocco. Were we there? And he wasn't so known for his kedusha, even though he was the Rebbe of the Chidah. The Chidah was his Talmud. And it was when the Tzan Zorav, the Divrei Chaim, who wrote a letter explaining why it was good that they threw out a Melamed. Why did they throw out a Melamed Mefatahim? Because he said that the Chaim HaKodesh didn't write his Perush B'Ruach HaKodesh. So he wrote a letter and said, Yafeh Pitru, because Avadi was B'Ruach HaKodesh, and became, that's when it was already more mefulsam, his Perush. It wasn't so mefulsam in the beginning. But the Chidah writes that the Chaim HaKodesh, his Rebbe, was moved up. He was Mukdash. Kodesh, Pashim Shah means, if you look in Mesilas Yesharim, in the definition, it means someone that's separates himself from the physical limitations of this world. It's not an easy thing. So Chaim HaKodesh, I think, has two reasons why there's Kodesh. Number one is because his Perush was written B'Ruach HaKodesh, and this aspect that he was moved out from a mufash from this world. It's Chai B'Kedusha. He moved to Eretz Yisrael. At the end of his life, he died when he was 47 years old. I was Zoiche. I had a good friend, still a good friend, but I had a chavrusa. His name is Lavi Greenspan. Lavi Greenspan, I was with him in yeshiva, and then he became blind. He's a famous mashpia. He speaks in many places. And we had a chavrusa once a week on the Chaim HaKodesh. It was one of my favorite chavrusas. And if you go to Chaim HaKodesh, you see that there are certain divrei Torah mamish that are only could be said B'Ruach HaKodesh. One of the classical Chaim HaKodesh, it's kedai to say this over, it's always, he says that his medayik this in psukim, but his yesod is, and he's the one that mamish put this into the oil. He says that every Shabbos gives kedusha and the chodesh to have existence only for 6 days. It's not the way we think. The Rebbeinu Shem created the world, and now that the world is basically working, and even if it's v'chadash b'tuv v'chol yoyim, but there's nothing special. The Chaim HaKodesh says that really, if we wouldn't keep Shabbos, then the world would not have a new existence for 6 days. Each Shabbos, that's the pshat, and he says when you make kadesh, you make kiddush, and the Gemara says you become a shutaf in the creation. It's not stam a shutaf in creation. Lulei keeping Shabbos, there wouldn't be another 6 days. That's the way it works. The world was only, when the initial creation were, Shabbos gave koyach for 6 days. And if we wouldn't chap Shabbos again, you don't have another 6 days. This is how Chaim HaKodesh in the Reishis. So Avad, everything says, B'Kedusha is Schus Yogan Aleinu, we have a tikkun in the back. They want to say Alechaim for the Chaim HaKodesh.